Today, we champion the Black men who've taken the reins of their lives, leading the way in family, finance, and purpose. Their own unique F.F.P. We're here to uplift and to highlight the Black men whose personal brands shine, illuminating the best within our community. The essence of our community lies in the power of dependability, of being useful, and consistently exuding confidence, intelligence, and assertiveness. That's the man we're here to celebrate. A man who truly embodies a meaningful, accountable nature. A true man. But our praise doesn't stop there. We raise our hats to the Black women whose public and private actions beautifully mirror the strength and grace of our Black men. Together, they weave the vibrant fabric of our community. Now let's celebrate the mantra that binds us. Dare to be bold, not silent. That's our rallying cry here at the Real Bravado Network. We're all about character, personal growth, and fostering a culture of accountability, all framed by this bold mantra. Our name, Real Bravado, represents our spirit, the essence of being truly bold. And that's our mission for every live stream, every conversation we have. So, let's dive into this journey together. And remember, we're here to be real, to be bold. Let's start this conversation, folks. Welcome, everyone, to our exciting live stream here on RBN, your trusted Real Bravado Network. This is your moment, your space. This is Have the Conversation. And every black man, start your day with 3 words. I'm a king.
I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king and I will never knew. Plotting for my fall, you getting hanged for treason. I don't aim to please, do anything I feel. Haters gonna talk, don't listen to the shit. They tryna be like me, they know they can, yo. Can't even get close, I'm on a pedestal, sitting on my throne. My neck be decked in gold, I don't do no hoes, I got a queen though. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king, I told you guys before, ready for the war, to get me way much more. Gather all this spoils, add them to my kingdom. Shout out to my fans for pledging your allegiance. You get a reward, the best flow you've ever heard. I don't be mixing with birds, I'm a lion on the surge. Always pushing to the edge, facing arrows, never scared. For my greatness I'm a servant, only under myself. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play it, I just win every day, I get it in.
We are back.
Cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing.
Welcome to the afternoon coffee break,
just let it sing.
where we go to break early and we come back late. We are here from a coffee break. We are your trusted RBN, your Real Bravado Network, where we address the issues, especially the issues that keep Black folk from being together. We attack the issues, not the person, even though sometimes the person is the issue. My name is TJ, and I am your facilitator for this journey today. And boy, do we got a journey today. My goodness. Shout out to the good brother 10 Plus Sounds for that new opening graphic for your boy. My God, was that some fire stuff. Now I can stop making this bootleg. Whatever, I'm excited. And shout out to 10 Plus, so that will make him the stream sponsor for today. Please support your brothers, 10 Plus Sounds, especially all you content creators out there. I dropped the link to his channel. Go check him out. Buy the brother a coffee. Buy the brother a coffee. Buy him a coffee. Shout out to 10 Plus Sounds. I don't even have the appropriate level of wording to express how in awe of this brother's talents that we have here. So shout out to 10 Plus Sounds and what he's doing for all of us in this space. But before we get going, acknowledge me. Acknowledge the Real Bravado Network. Acknowledge those in the chat. Acknowledge those on the replay. Acknowledge those who graciously give super chats. Acknowledge those who come and sign up to listen to me rant on the issues that affect Black people. Whew, boy, I'm out of breath. And yeah, it got a little bit to do with me being fat, but I am out of breath. But here, 1 minute. No. Let's do this.
Money making is my thing, cause I'm trying to be rich, trying to put away meals.
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
Here comes the
All right, shout out to the big homie who is becoming a regular sponsor, a regular contributor, a regular supporter of the Real Bravado Network. Shout out to the big homie 3D Radio. Let's do it big today, brother. I'm going to try. I really am going to try. Shout out. Thank you very much. All right, everybody.
Let me talk to you.
All right. Let me talk to you. You know, I often, I say in my opening that we address Black people issues over here, especially the issues that keep Black folk single. One of the and with us addressing the issues and the issues that keep Black folk from being together, there is a plethora of issues that we got, from the relational to the economic to the political to whatever. Today is going to be a little political, okay? And let me just hold on. Let me put a pin in that for a second. Tomorrow we are going to talk about, I'm sick and tired of watching petty brothers do petty stuff. And we're going to get into it tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to talk about the good brother, Stephen A. Smith, and just how petty he is. Okay. Now back to today. Listen. I'm not going to sit around and pretend like race in this country is still not a problem. I just don't believe it's a problem to the level that a lot of people that are hypersensitive to it, or who flat out disagree with another perspective. But one of the things that have been very effective with engaging Black folk in the Black vote, primarily is our Black women, is going straight head on, making everything racist. And speaking of that, our stream on Friday, case in point, our stream on Friday, we talked about how 60 Minutes did a story blaming being fat, Black Americans being fat on racism. Racism ain't got nothing to do with us being fat, out of shape, got the poorest health conditions in the country. That ain't got nothing to do with racism. Now, is there some structural things in place? Yeah. But at the end of the day, we still have our choices. And we often pretend like we don't have choices. And let me tell you something. I went so hard on that issue that 60 Minutes did by calling that basically asserting that we get strokes, high blood pressure, and diabetes from racism. Let me tell you what CBS and 60 Minutes did to me. They petitioned YouTube, and took down that entire stream. And fuck YouTube for that. And then so I can go in and try to appeal. So normally when I appeal, if I got to appeal something, it's no big deal. I appeal it. If they award it, if they overturn it, they overturn it. If they don't, it remains what it is. This particular one, because I went after CBS and 60 Minutes for them claiming that, which is not factually based, which is reckless and irresponsible, claiming that somebody got diabetes or high blood pressure because of racism is reckless. So what YouTube decided to do, they sent me a note saying that if I appealed it and I lost, that loss will count as a copyright strike on my channel. Really? No, I just can't appeal and it's up or down. Normally when you appeal, they don't remove your stream, your content from the channel. No, they'll just restrict it where you can't monetize it during the appeal process. These fuckers took it down. And if I appeal it and I lose the appeal, then I suffer a copyright strike. And any content creator understands what happens when you get with a copyright strike and how bad that is and how that jeopardizes your channel. All because 60 Minutes want to continue to spread this bullshit about that everything that affects Black folk has got to do with racism, that racism is the cause of our poor health. It is not the cause of our poor health. Because during the 40s, 50s, civil rights movement, Black folks weren't obese at the rate we were obese. We didn't have the sugar, as they call it. We didn't have out of control high blood pressure we didn't have out of control high blood pressure. These people are so hell-bent on keeping us riled up, fighting against a non-issue that they continue to. If we out here fighting bullshit, that means we're too distracted to see what they're actually doing. So F YouTube for doing that crap, and F Paramount CBS for you sorry ass bitches because you don't want nobody to see. See, I promised my grandma that I wouldn't cuss so much. Lord have mercy. I am so sick and tired of seeing this crap that everything about what's going on with us is racism. Everything that, I mean, really, everything that affects Black folk negatively is racism?
Hell no, to the no.
But that's the way, but that's how y'all want to play it. That everything that negatively affects Black folk, it's racism. As if Black folk don't got their own, that we don't make our own choices and decisions. So I guess you can't go up against the big corporation CBS when they spew garbage out. Which leads me to today. Hold on, let me real quick. So apparently, the NAACP has issued a travel warning to Black folk in Florida. They're saying to Black folk in the country, don't go to Florida because it's unsafe. Normally, when a country or organization like the Civil Rights, normally when they issue a travel, when the United States government issues a travel warning to like Iraq or somewhere in the Middle East or some country, that means that there's a high probability that an American citizen will either get killed or kidnapped or both. And it's saying, hey, guys, don't go over there because it's not your body, your life is not safe. So the NAACP, once upon a time, used to issue these travel warnings about different towns and areas and cities in this country because it was detrimental to your physical well-being. So this NAACP decided to do that again. And let me tell you guys something. I'm going to play you guys a little bit about some historical context. I'm going to play a clip about this thing called the Green Book and this thing about the sundown towns. And then we're going to get into the story about the NAACP in Florida and what the hell they're doing. And by the way, just a reminder, we're only here for a coffee break, y'all. We go early, we come back late from our coffee breaks at work. So we all know that. That's why there's the countdown clock because, we want to make sure that we get back at a reasonable hour to our work. But first, let's take a look at the Green Book and Sundown Towns before we tackle this and cook the NAACP of Florida.
Most of us have good hearts, and most people want everybody to just have a fair and equal life in this country. But there was always kind of a disconnect, and there still is, in terms of understanding how our history is so close to us. It's so important that we honor this history, but also learn from it. My name is Candace Taylor. I'm a cultural documentarian working on a project based on the Green Book, which was a travel guide that was published for Black people during the Jim Crow era. It serviced not only Black migrants who were leaving the South during the second wave of the Great Migration, but also Black entrepreneurs, celebrities, and all kinds of folks who just wanted to take vacation like every other.
So the Green Book was a travel guide that was put together for the 1940s, 50s, and 60s for mostly Black entertainers and Black families who travel. The Green Book identified friendly businesses and establishments in towns from restaurants to hotels to gas stations to stores that were friendly to Black folks, so we can go and so families could go, or individuals or rock stars can go without being worrying about their safety. The place where Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated in Memphis, the Lorraine Motel, is actually inside of the Green Book. It's one of the places that they could go in Memphis where they could be okay, which was a Lorraine Motel. Just thought I'll bring that up.
American. By 1962, 2 million people were using the Green Book. It was the Bible of Black travel, and that largely speaks to just how critical it was for safety. For instance, the Sundown Town was a place that was all white on purpose, and
Mackie Samuels, I'm not saying Florida is like this heaven for Black folk, but when we get into the story of NAACP and why they're calling for a travel ban of Florida, you'll see the ridiculousness of it. I'm not opposed to thinking to the idea that there still isn't places in this country where it might be a little unsafe for us to be at. I'm not saying that might not be the case, but it's not everything. And the reasons why the Florida is ridiculous. And we'll get to that in a second. So I just wanted to acknowledge what you said. And I'm not saying that Florida is like this ultra oasis of tranquility for Black folk. I'm not saying that.
if you were Black, you were not allowed after 6 p.m. When I first started this project, I kept reading about this chauffeur's hat that Black people would pretend to be a chauffeur to help them get out of situations with law enforcement. And I asked my stepdad one day, I said, is this true? And he said, yeah. He said it happened to him when he was a child, riding in the back seat of his parents' car. Then they got pulled over by a sheriff. And his father turned and looked at him. He said, don't say a word. And the sheriff said, who are these people? Whose car is this? Where are you going? Ron's father said, this is my employer's car. He turned to his wife and said, she's the maid, and this is her son, and I'm driving them home. And the sheriff, kind of balked and said, well, where's your hat? And he said, it's hanging in the back, officer. So there were props, there were ruses, tools that you had to use to stay safe and stay alive. And the Green Book was just simply another one of those tools.
This is real racism. This is life or death. Are you telling me that today, Blacks in this country, I understand the relationship with local law enforcement, but I'm talking about in general. Are we saying that today we are still here, where we got to pretend like our cars are not our cars, where we got to pretend like our wife isn't our wife? We got to do stuff like that. Is that what we're saying? I don't think so.
I'm creating an interactive map that shows not only Green Book sites, but sundown towns, socioeconomic statistics like lead poisoning or educational disparities or income disparities or private prisons. The map is such a critical tool in telling this story because there's so much data. There were about 10,000 businesses listed in the Green Book, and I've scouted over 4,000 sites. I've estimated that about 80% of the buildings have been just erased from the landscape, and less than 3% are still operating.
By the time Missouri Governor Jay Nixon went on television yesterday to announce the midnight curfew for residents of Ferguson, we'd already gone off the air here on MHP. But friend of the show, Dorian Warren, who was with me at my table yesterday, stuck around and joined my colleague TJ Holmes at his table during the news conference. After it ended, Dorian weighed in on the historical precedent to what the governor had to say.
What you just said, Raul, when the sun goes down, here is the historical context for this. Meaning, if you were black in an all-white town, you could not be in that town when the sun goes down, and it was a threat to your safety.
Historian and author James Lowen, the man who literally wrote the book on sundown towns, uncovered thousands of these towns that existed in the United States throughout the 20th century. By some estimates, as many as 10,000 sundown towns had sprung up across the country by 1970. Some where the warning to African Americans not to let the sun go down on you was an unspoken rule that spread by reputation. Others where the warning was explicitly spelled out in signs posted along the highway or at the town or on the county line. But all of them, whites-only spaces where being black after dark could mean arrest, harassment, assault, or worse. In 1968, 21-year-old Carol Jenkins was selling encyclopedias door to door in the sundown town of Martinsville, Indiana, when she was stabbed in the chest with a screwdriver and left to die in the street. So for African-American travelers, making the choice about where to stop for food, gas, or a bathroom break, or rest for the night was potentially a life or death decision.
So, you know, our grandparents, which a lot of our people have our grandparents still around, or even some of us are actual parents. They went through this. None of us born if you are under 60 right now, you didn't go through this. Not in any significant, meaningful way. Our challenges are different now. We didn't do this. We don't walk around every day. We don't leave our homes every day worried for our lives from a mob of white folk. We just don't do that. That's just not happening. And for an organization to come out and issue a travel warning to a state, that invokes that your life, your family's life, the residents of that state, that their lives are in imminent danger. That's what that means when you issue that kind of a warning. So we're going to get into it, and we're going to take a good look at why the NAACP in Florida is issuing a travel warning for the state of Florida. I thought something was I thought something bad had happened in Florida. I was really thinking that they were down there running over Negroes, tying them to the back of trucks and dragging them down the street. I really thought that was happening. I thought, well, maybe they're mobs of black folk. Maybe I'm not. So I started looking around. I'm looking for any incidences of this. So let's take a look at what the NAACP in Florida, the reason why they're saying this.
Is cautioning travelers against visiting Florida.
The civil rights organization alleges Florida has become increasingly hostile to Black Americans under the leadership of Ron DeSantis. A spokesperson for the Republican governor is deriding the advisory as a, quote, stunt. But the NAACP claims Governor DeSantis is attempting to erase Black history and restrict diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in Florida schools. This comes after he blocked the introduction of an advanced placement course focusing on African American studies in Florida high schools.
I'm going to go back to this. I understand this is a passionate topic about the education and the curriculum in the Florida public schools. I understand that. Let me tell you something. There is no Ron DeSantis if you guys are not out there voting. There is no attack on public school curriculums if you guys are out there voting. Let me tell you something. We're not out there voting. We're not out there voting at a 60, 70% clip. If we were, then the elected officials that support your causes would be in charge of the state. What was the name of the brother that ran for governor against Ron DeSantis? I forgot his name. The black dude. And he lost by like 7 percentage points or 8 percentage points. Black folk, are only showing up to vote at a 20% clip. Get out of here. And if you are that concerned about your kids learning appropriate level of education and history, why don't you do it yourself? I'm not saying this is fair or right or just. I'm just saying that you have other choices. When white folk, good old white folk, don't like what's going on in the educational system, they pull their children out of the educational system and they homeschool them to give them the whatever education that they deem fit for their children. But we sit up here and we complain about it. We don't vote, and then we complain about it. And then we don't do anything about it when we got more than one option besides the public school system.
Earlier this year.
Joining us now is Derek Johnson. He's the president and CEO of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the organization more commonly known as the NAACP. Derek, it's great to have you back with us. So it's worth noting that both the League of United Latin American Citizens and LGBTQ+ advocacy group Equality Florida previously issued travel advisories for Florida earlier this year. Tell us what was behind the NAACP's decision to take this action now.
Well, we began to look at the pattern and the comments along with the public policy that Governor DeSantis and the Florida legislative body began.
He said the comments in the public policy. He said we're issuing a travel warning because of words and more words. So let me see if he outlines what specific words that Ron DeSantis used that made it such a problem that we had to issue a travel warning to all blacks in the United States to not go to Florida for risk of losing your life in Florida. That's why you issue travel warnings, because it's a life or death situation. So let me explain, let me see if you can articulate and outline the very specific life and death outcomes if you are black and you go to Florida.
Into an act. And we recognize that it is a direct attack, not only on the African-American community, but the Latino community, on women, on the LGBT plus QIA community. And that's a problem. He's using his platform as governor to try to promote otherism or racial hate and division. That should not be the case. And America needs to understand, as he prepared to run for the presidency, we cannot stand as a nation another individual occupying the White House with this type of belief system.
Governor DeSantis's press secretary called the travel advisory a, quote, stunt. What's your response to that?
I am not a supporter of Ron DeSantis in any shape, form, or fashion. I think the man is half damn crazy. But this is a stunt, in my opinion. This is an absolute stunt.
But was it a stunt to block children's experience to learn history holistically?
So getting politically involved in the educational curriculum in the state of Florida, how does that affect, how does that make it physically unsafe for a person of color to be there? This has not, a travel ban is for if there is a physical, intimate threat to one's life if they enter into this geographical area. A book or educational curriculum does not do that. So what are you telling people? What are you saying to people, especially Black people, when you're issuing this travel ban? What are you saying? Are you simply saying, well, look, don't go to Florida because they won't teach what we want them to teach?
Is it a stunt for him to pursue a course of action to target the LGBT community?
Somebody, please tell me, within the scope of the NAACP charter, the original foundings of the charter of the NAACP, when was the NAACP ever an advocacy group for the alphabet community? Does anybody know what the letters NAACP stand for? Does anybody know what the NAACP, those letters actually stand for and what they mean? It has nothing to, why are we sitting up in here wrapping up a whole nother group of people into our shit that ain't got nothing to do with our shit? But you're going to issue a travel ban because you got some issue or something's made up, or they deleting, the alphabet people left and right on top of the Black people left and right. What are you saying? This is why so many independent-minded Black men are walking away from organizations like the NAACP. They're walking away from the church. They're walking away from the Democratic Party. They're walking away because of this nonsense. This is what we call, when I'm growing up, we call this selling wolf tickets. You're crying wolf. You're trying to gaslight somebody.
Is it not a stunt for all the things he's doing to try to garner support from a minority of the U.S. population to win the nomination to be the nominee for his political party? All of these things you are doing is the use of race as a tool to promote himself on a platform that's intolerant of diversity, intolerant of people.
So we need a travel ban because you believe that Ron DeSantis is intolerant of diversity. Please explain to me in that statement where it talks about that white folk in Florida are out there deleting Black folk at an alarming rate, and Black folks shouldn't be going there. Please explain that to me. Now, I just played a little while ago the clips about the Green Book and why the Green Book existed and what sundown towns are and what happened in sundown towns. And so we got a clear picture of why someone would issue a travel ban, a travel advisory. We have a clear picture of that. Just a few minutes ago in the stream, we went over what constitutes issuing a travel advisory. So you're saying because Ron DeSantis, in your opinion, doesn't like diversity, then we need to issue a travel advisory for the state of Florida because your life is on the line because DeSantis may or may not like diversity. Okay.
Everything he's done is a stunt.
Derek, I want to go back to the idea of this travel advisory because while it is focused politically on the governor, it also has implications for people in hospitality and all of the other sectors, including Black Americans in Florida. Tell us what really went into the decision about a travel advisory. And
so, real quick, I knew the name, but National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Where does that say anything about advocacy for the LGBTQWXYTBZ123 people? The National Association for the Advancement of Colored Folk. That's what the NAACP stands for. What was their purpose when they founded? their purpose was to go around suing the local, state, and federal governments for equal representation under the law and equal treatment under the law. The NAACP, their main focus was filing lawsuits to enforce that local, state, and federal laws, or to change local, state, and federal laws. That's what they were there for. So let's listen, because she asked him a very specific question. So we're gonna let's see if he answers it.
The governor. It also has implications for people in hospitality, in all of the other sectors, including Black Americans in Florida. Tell us what really went into the decision about a travel advisory, and talk to us about the other instances in which the NAACP has issued a similar travel advisory.
Well, first of all, this was informed by the community who are members in the state of Florida. This has been informed by other Black institutions that we are aligned with. And they're saying that we have to address the problem of direct racial attacks from this governor in a way in which we don't abandon the citizens of Florida, in a way in which we don't allow it to go unaddressed. And so what came out of this was the State Conference of Florida making a decision that it was a problem and something needed to get done, that the members of our national board began to deliberate to determine.
So I'm still waiting for him to talk about the violence against Black people. All he's talking about is political posturing, policy, which would have not been an issue if you go out there and try to figure out how to get your people to get out there and vote. Ta-da! Voila! Figure out how to get your people out there to vote. Figure out how to get the independents to be sympathetic to your cause, to get them to vote in line with you. And you don't have a Ron DeSantis in office, a two-term governor who's now running who's going to be running for president. By the way, he's not going to make it. The Republican Party wants nothing to do with Ron DeSantis, because the Republican Party, they're quietly courting the votes of Black men, and they can't get that with Ron DeSantis.
Money making is my thing, cause I'm trying to be rich, trying to put away meals.
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
Here comes the
Shout out to the homeboy Eric Jordan. Sounds like some left-wing bull crap to me. Yeah, it's bullshit. It's a stunt. It's an absolute stunt. Eric Jordan, I got something for you.
But these last $2.
Thank you for the $2 super chat, brother, and give me your last $2. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, brother.
Approach, and at the end of the day, this struck the right balance to ensure that if individuals or organizations had to go to Florida, to work with local community groups within the African American community, so we can address this question, while at the exact same time, if you don't have to go to Florida, don't go. What he has done to Disney is atrocious in his way to attack the LGBT community. What he is doing is using the bully pulpit of the governor's office to promote a personal interest in becoming president by appealing to the lowest common denominator.
Don't worry about Walt Disney, the Walt Disney Corporation. They're going to take care of whatever they need to take care of for their interests. You ain't got to worry about them. But I'm still sitting here waiting on why the NAACP issued a travel advisory. You haven't told me one thing that tells me that I should not be going to Florida. All you're talking about is some school curriculum, something with the alphabet people, and a policy here or there, in your personal opinion, if you think he's all about diversity or not. None of those things add up to a travel advisory. When the NAACP comes out and says something about what to do and not to do, Black folk pay attention. And when the NAACP says don't go here, that carries a lot of weight because of the historical context of the NAACP. And you jerks are out here watering that down. So what's going to happen when you keep watering your message down, when you're giving us racial fatigue? What's going to happen when you worn down everybody's racial fatigue nerve and there's an actual issue? Who's going to listen to you? It's the boy who cried wolf.
Denominator, and we cannot stand for that as both undemocratic and un-American.
So, Derek, I wonder from your perspective, what would need to happen in the state of Florida for the NAACP to pull back its travel advisory?
But we are clear this happened as a result of an election. This probably will be in place because you have a number of policymakers who make up the legislative body who agree with Governor DeSantis. So we're going to be preparing now for the next election cycle. That is the reality of our democracy. You settle differences at the ballot box. In between the election cycle, if there are policies that can be harmful or cause harm, we must address by any means we can. And this is one of the means we're saying to travelers to the state of Florida who happen to be African-American, LGBTQ, women.
I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more. There was like seconds left. This man who represents the NAACP said nothing. He said absolutely nothing. Black folk, I'm begging you, we have to stop allowing these people, these organizations, or these individuals coming out and claiming crap is racism when it's not. We got to stop these people from coming out and sounding false alarms. This was a false alarm. I'm getting sick of it, and I'm Black. We got a whole lot we got so many issues with our people that we don't need to be out here with sending out false alarms about racial issues. You issue a travel advisory because our safety is going to be impacted. He spoke to none of that. All he spoke to was a curriculum fight with the governor of Florida. That is a false alarm. That's like pulling the fire alarm in a building because somebody lit a match and the match is smoking and out. Or more specifically, because you found a cigarette butt in a non-smoking building, so you're going to pull the fire alarm. This is a false issue. And we got to stop these people. We got to call it out because these people will make life unsafe for us in this country, because we do still have a bunch of yahoos out here who want an excuse to try to cause harm to us. And we got these yahoos out here claiming crap is racist or dangerous or unsafe. That's not true. We got a whole news network like 60 Minutes calling being fat and having diabetes and high blood pressure for Black folk. The reason why we got it is because of racism. Black folk got high blood pressure, diabetes, and obesity because of racism. No wonder why we are not taken seriously in the national conversation. We put up with, we encourage, we support nothing but BS. We are a whole joke. And the best of us get lumped in with this garbage. That's why we need to fight harder against this crap. We got this crap to fight. We got the baby mama epidemic that we got to fight. We got the low marital rates we got to fight. We just got so much crap. We got the lack of manhood and masculinity in our community. We got almost 30% of our young boys turning out to be being raised to be part of the alphabet community. We're losing. We got bigger fights to fight than to be sitting up here worrying about some. If you don't like the damn curriculum in your state, get your ass out and do something about it. Join the school board. Go to your local meetings. Get out and vote. Our asses don't go vote. We talking about it don't matter. It don't matter. Tomorrow, Stephen A. Smith with his petty ass. And another example of black men doing our image harm by being petty. And Stephen A. Smith was raised by a single mama.
I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king and I will never knew. Plotting for my fall, you getting hanged for treason. I don't aim to please, do anything I feel. Haters gonna talk, don't listen to the shit. They tryna be like me, they know they can, yo. Can't even get lost. I'm on a pedestal, sitting on my throne. My neck be decked in gold. I don't do no hoes, I got a queen though. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play.